Hey everybody, let me add Raven. I was hoping that I would learn how to do this before. Okay, there you are.
Hi, Wyatt.
Wyatt's on. Okay. Yay! It's the last one.
Yay! I went and got a Sonic to celebrate.
Oh, I think I'm gonna do that after too. We're on the same wavelength. So I have to show you before we get sidetracked talking about Great Expectations. I have to show you what I got myself for Christmas.
I
Yay!
love it.
And I haven't taken it off. Well, I did. I
Well,
took it off to wash it,
don't
but
tell people that.
I just mean that I keep wearing it. It's my absolute favorite. I'm so excited.
Okay, so the other little picture of me is actually an old account that this is what I was telling you earlier that Katie is on.
Yes.
So I forgot I had that account, but look at the name.
I know. Are you going to do anything with that account or no?
No, I forgot I had it. So Katie wanted to get on and watch and like be in the comments, and so yeah,
Yes.
I
For
forgot
those
about
that
that.
don't know, both of our oldest children are in the comments.
Yeah, they're gonna keep an eye on you guys.
Yeah, to help us hopefully not miss anything. So, okay. So I think that as people are getting on, um, we could say that like if you finished the book, like do a thumbs up that you finished it. It's okay if you didn't. If you loved it, you could leave a heart. And if you didn't, you could leave a thumbs down. So, who did a heart? I just saw a heart. Was that you, Wyatt? Oh,
Maya, did
goodness.
you read it? Did you really
No,
read
he
it?
did not. He did not. And you know why? He's traumatized from Jane Eyre.
I know.
So,
It's okay. Katie said the same
anyways, yeah.
thing.
So, okay. So, what are your thoughts, Raven, on now that it's completed?
Okay, so me and Dickens, we just do not like, I don't know. I can appreciate his work. I appreciated the challenge of reading this book, but it would be cool if I met him. That would be cool,
Yes.
but I don't
Yeah.
know that I would just I don't know. I don't really enjoy reading his books.
What do you not
Sorry.
what do you not like about it? Like,
It's
is there too much going
just
on
so,
or
yeah, yeah. Like I feel like when they talked about like the business side of things, I'm like, come on, like you're just going on and on about this, and I have no idea what you're saying.
yeah.
But I did read a review last night, which made sense that Dickens is meant to be read at a very slow pace.
Yes.
It's not meant to be read in like
In a month?
um,
Is that what you're saying?
months. But like if you think about it back in those days, they would like what you said, these were coming out in installments. And so I don't think people back then, like I'm pretty sure that people back then were not like reading 60 books in a year, right? They weren't like
Yeah.
just going through
Yeah.
the books like crazy and reading really fast. So I think in order for Dickens to truly be appreciated, I think that they have to be read at a slower pace.
Okay.
And I don't like reading at a slower pace. I already read, I think, at a slow pace, but you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't like dragging it out.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it does. I think that's why a lot of people don't really like him and stick with his books, because they're so big and overwhelming, like
Yeah.
they're intimidating. So,
Yeah.
which our friend Jackie sent me a message that said that she appreciated doing this book club because it kind of held her accountable to finishing it.
Yeah, I did too.
So if you enjoyed this and read along with us and liked this kind of setup, let us know because we can maybe do it again. Not a Dickens. Just, we'll let Raven
Until
pick
next
the
year.
next book.
Until next year.
But yeah, but it's an accomplishment. You feel accomplished when you finish it because it is so challenging.
Yeah.
Um, so I so the reason why so we talked about it last night because you gave it a 3-star review. Which I'm not kind of surprised at all, but
Wait,
so
what did you
anyways,
give it?
I gave it
5?
a 5. But I will tell you that I appreciated different parts of the story this time than I did when I read it forever ago. So I think when I read it in 8th grade, the part that stood out to me the most was like the Miss Havisham story and like just kind of the I don't know, that's what's always stuck with me about the whole entire story. But this time I felt more invested in like the convict story and how that kind of played out uh like at the end and stuff like that. And I have to say, I think my favorite character this time was Mr. What it's not Wickham, but the like assistant to the
Oh my
lawyer.
goodness. With them?
Something it's something with a W.
She's your
Um
favorite though.
Yes. I knew I was gonna forget it. I kept telling myself, like repeating the name over, and then obviously I did forget. But he was I think my favorite character this time because he provides such comic relief. And I just think that he is like, I don't know, like I love that he called his dad the aged parent. I think I might start calling my mom that. She's not on here yet, so I can say that. But like that was hysterical. And then I finished it today, so just under the crunch time. But I was reading through the part of like when he got married and just how he's like, we're just gonna go for a walk and I'm taking this fishing pole that has nothing to do with anything. Like it's just kind of funny to me, just his demeanor and stuff. So I appreciate I think the humor from Dickens, but it's not easily um
Picked up.
it's not well, I don't want to say that because it's not like I'm some intellectual, but I think it's like British, that subtle British humor of it's just very kind of tongue in cheek and that kind of stuff. So I like
Yeah.
that. And I like the fact that he like picks at people kind of without it being like just straightforward. My other favorite part was at like this last little bit was when whatever his Travers boy, is that what it was, that his name, Travers? His son, and he comes in and rescues Pip at the end and whatever, and Pip says like I gave him money and apologized for thinking so little of him, and he had no reaction. like he just didn't even pick up on like or didn't care or whatever. Like I just thought that was funny. So
Yeah. That is
I
funny.
I yeah, I appreciate those little things. I will say though that I think you could read this book every year and pick out new things and maybe follow a different track of characters more invested than you did the previous time.
Is this going to be your yearly read?
No.
Your yearly classic?
But I won't say that I won't ever go back and read it again. I do want to finish all of his books
Yeah.
before I go back to reread because I haven't made but a dent in them. So, okay, so talking about the actual chapters that we got through this week. Um, I'm trying to remember where we started out this week. Do you remember?
I do not remember.
I think okay, so basically the main key points this week were um of him getting like trying to arrange for the convict to escape,
You're right.
and they're going to go together, and then he gets this letter, sinister letter that lures him back to where he used to live. And then it comes out that um or like whatever, that guy, the guy that used to work at, with Joe is the one that attacked his sister and is really upset that he didn't get to marry Biddy and is now going to kill Pip.
Yeah.
So what did you think of that? Did you figure that's who had attacked her?
No, Rachel, because I can't follow along. This is the really good thing about rereading, is I feel like because you've already read it,
Yeah.
that you grasped you grasped a lot more this
Okay.
time. You know what I mean? It takes
Yeah.
me a minute. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
no.
I'm
Well,
just
and
trying to be relatable.
yes, totally. There are way too many
There's a
characters too.
lot of
At
characters.
least
Yeah.
in this one, they don't all sound the same. In A Tale of Two Cities, you can definitely get confused with people because a lot of them have French names
Or the
and stuff,
same
and
name.
they all kind of sound the same.
Yeah.
Right, or the same name. At least that didn't happen here.
Yeah.
But okay, so the guy ends up. So is that shocking?
That he was the one who attacked the
That had
sister.
attacked. Yes, that had attacked
I
his
don't know. I
sister.
don't think so.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was altogether shocking. I didn't like him to begin with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I mean, he definitely gave off creepy vibes from the beginning. Um, so yeah, I didn't think it was shocking. I did think it was kind of clever of him to make the scene look like it was a convict or something like that to kind of cover his tracks. So I don't think it's
Yeah.
altogether dumb, but just very vindictive, I guess. Okay, so that kind of wrapped up, like we found out that mystery of who had attacked her. And then he gets saved. Oh, I guess I totally skipped over the part where he goes and visits Miss Havisham and then has to save her.
Yeah.
So what did you think of that? Because that kind of wrapped up that little set too, in dealing with
Um,
Miss Havisham
I
and
don't
kind of
know.
how that ends.
That scene kind of felt a little weird because she was kind of remorseful. Like she seemed kind of sad. Um, but was she really sad for the way that, she treated him? I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought it was very noble that he tried to save her because I,
Yeah.
I was like, no, just leave her.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Again, relatable, I guess.
No, yeah, I don't know. I just really didn't like her. But I thought it was very noble of him to rescue
Well,
her.
and I think it's meant to kind of show his like he doesn't have any grudges against her, like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Um but that kind of like wraps up dealing with her, so we don't really deal with her anymore. And then we kind of wrap up the mystery of who attacked Mrs. Joe in that situation. And so then they tried to get her out or get the convict out, right? And I found those chapters of where they're like trying to escape and his friends are rowing the boat and they're coming up like that was kind of intense.
yeah. That's one of the parts I got lost in. But I was like, what is happening and who are these people? Yeah. And then they finally made it, and it was.
Well, so then yeah, and then they get caught.
Your
And
mom said that her heart breaks for Mrs. Havisham.
yeah, it is a sad story. I feel like not to go like to get sidetracked, but I feel like she is definitely a character that doesn't really get redeemed. I mean, she kind of has remorse and whatever, but you're not really sure. Um, and I think that's one of the things that I appreciate about Dickens is not everybody is going to get, and I think I said this in the beginning, not everybody is going to get this like good ending. Some people are not going to be redeemed, and he's going to leave it like that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't normally like that, but I think I'm okay with it because other people like grow and get redeemed, and that's
Yeah.
so it kind of evens out the scale. Um, but going back to the convict, so they catch him, they take him back to jail, and I thought it was a very interesting turn of events, right? Where he knows that he's not going to have any money if like this all plays out if he goes back to court and they figure out who he is
Right.
and he's okay with that. I feel like that's major growth for Pip.
Yeah, there I feel like that was very humbling for him, and just accepting that. And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And because that would be so hard. It's, he's worked on being a gentleman, and this was the life that he thought he was going to lead, and now kind of like accepting the fact that I'm going to have to go back and be what I was originally intended to be, by being a blacksmith. And but he totally does it gracefully, and is there with him, with the convict every step of the way of his trial
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
So I do think he gets redeemed a lot by the end, because my goodness, he's super annoying in the middle of the book.
yeah,
Um, but I think by the end you're like, oh, okay, you are a really good guy. You kind of just got lost in, great expectations.
yeah.
So, and then we find out that the convict that has paid for all of this stuff is actually Estella's dad.
Hmm.
And so he tells him, I love her, your daughter's, I know who she is, and kind of that. So I
That's
kind of,
after Estella's married, too.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah. But I guess to give him peace, to give the convict peace that, like, this person, your daughter is okay, and I love her, which would, I then, I guess, i.e., she's a lovable person. Um,
yeah.
so I think that was, um, I don't know. To me, I don't really love it just feels kind of hokey, I guess. Like, what are the odds? Which he does do in his books too. Like, everybody ends up connected in some sort of way. Um, and that's probably my least, just because it doesn't feel believable to me.
Yeah.
The fact that he would just randomly be her dad. But, um, and then he ends up, so the convict dies, and then he ends up trying to go back and like make peace with Joe and Biddy. And,
I like
well, does he make,
that scene too,
yeah,
because he was just happy for them.
yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he did. I don't know. That was a sweet moment. I can't remember what he said. What was the thing that he said? This is this is good for you, or something. I can't remember,
Pip,
but
who Pip said
yeah,
or Joe
yeah,
said? Yeah.
yeah.
I think he was very, when they get married, is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Joe and Biddy get married. Um, yes, I think it was very noble of him to say, like, y'all are both such nice people. You deserve to have each other because you are nice people. Um, and I do like how that ended. So the part, my aunt, shout out to Aunt Janet, she found the in her book, she had the part that like wasn't published. So I read that, and then I read what online people were saying, and it was basically that, what, so he tacked in the part about, um when he goes to the house and randomly Estella's there, and they have that
Yeah,
conversation. In
yes.
the original book, or in the original
Yeah.
manuscript, it was that they were going to, he has this conversation with Biddy, just like how it plays out, like, have you ever gotten over her, meaning Estella? And he says, yes, like, I've moved on, but I still, like, I'm always going to love her because, she was important to me. And so then the alternate ending is that he sees her on the streets in London, and she has remarried somebody else, and is still not happy. But she sees him and says, like, I'm glad to see you doing well. And he says, like, I'm glad to see you. And they kind of just part ways like that. Um, I think I think I like that ending better. And it's not because I don't want Pip to get married and have a life. I just feel like, and it's not that I don't think Estella was redeemable. I think she came from a very traumatic, life, and
Right.
um, but I do think that, to me, it would have been more, I don't know, like, not full circle, but just it would have been better if they had like mutually agreed, like, I'm glad that you're having a good life. I'm glad that you're having, like, he should have wrote her that she remarried and it was happy. But but I don't understand them being together. And really, I was reading this perspective that some people were implying that the way he actually wrote it is not saying, because Pip is saying that, and we'll never part again, which is kind of an expectation on his part, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not like set in stone that they are actually together in the future. It's just that he thinks that they're going to be,
Mm-hmm.
which you could suppose, like, did he really like get past the point of having great expectations?
Yeah.
Because maybe he's just assuming that they're going to be together now.
Yeah.
So do you like how like the published ending was?
I mean, it was okay,
Yeah.
but I kind of agree with you. Like if that, I mean, because that was his first, like the other ending, the original ending.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of think I would have been okay with that ending as well.
Yeah.
Um, because part of me just thinks that they really weren't good for each other.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't think so either.
but then I feel like if it was that ending, I don't know that she would ever be happy. Does that make sense? It's like I think she would just be miserable her whole life and then end up like Miss Havisham. Um,
Yes. So I
does
guess
that make
in a
sense?
way, yeah. So the what happened was he let Charles Dickens let a friend read the finished one, and his friend argued with him that that was too depressing. And so he had him change it, or he like encouraged him to change it, and so he changed it. But I think that it kind of just, I don't know. I don't feel the same. I don't feel like we have enough time with her to really know if she's like
That's true. I
changed.
didn't have a lot of heart for her.
Yeah,
There wasn't, that character I don't feel like was, um, I don't know,
developed.
developed
You kind of watch
very,
her, yeah, you kind of watch her from afar. And then it kind of just feels like at the end she's just kind of thrown back in
yes,
there.
yeah.
Um and so I don't know if that's what it is. I just don't understand the them getting back together. I don't get it, because you never really get the sense that she actually likes him in the entire
No,
book.
no. Even at the end, I'm
Right.
like, I feel like she's just putting, like, she's just, well,
I know,
life.
kind of like indifferent. And so he's
Yeah,
like, is he jumping on the opportunity of her being indifferent? And he's like, oh, we're going to be together now. Like, I don't know.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. But I will tell you, my favorite part towards the end was when um, Joe like paid his debt.
Yes.
I thought that was, I don't know, that was very sweet. So I did appreciate that.
Well, we can just say that Joe is like we all want to have a
Right.
Joe.
Yeah.
We would all want to try to be a Joe to someone else. Just he never he never um like was hurt by how Pip treated him. I don't even know a way to like articulate that well, but basically just stayed in it like a good parent does, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe as parents we should strive to be like Joe, and just never taking, like, he never seemed to take offense, never
Right.
seemed to, and that he had to acknowledge the fact that like Pip, like he had to have seen it, right? He's not stupid. um Seeing how fast like Pip wanted to get away,
Right.
and he never comes back, and he's kind of embarrassed of him, and you kind of like, maybe he picks up on that. But I did think that, yes, that's super noble. And even Biddy, like I did like them together. And I was thinking, because
Yeah, I did
so
too.
originally I really wanted Pip to be with Biddy. That's how I originally wanted it to end. But reading through it this time, I feel like it's very similar to Little Women. When you read Little Women through the first time, oh, it's going to be spoiler.
Spoilers,
So if you haven't
I
read
haven't read it.
Little Women, close your ears. But when Joe doesn't marry, what's his name?
Oh my goodness. What's his name, Katie? Who Joe doesn't marry?
Um, the
Little
neighbor.
Women. Little Women. Lori.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Lori.
Yes,
And
but
you're like upset that Lori ends up marrying Amy because that doesn't make sense. And for a long time that just made me really have a hard time with the book. But there's the new version that came out a few years ago, and they actually show more perspective of Amy.
in the movie, yeah.
And yes, in the movie, and maybe how interaction she had with Lori when they were overseas and whatever. It just made me like appreciate them together. Like I ended up liking the fact that they were together. So this time through, I really like that Biddy ended up with Joe because
Yeah.
I still do not think that Pip would have appreciated her. It was almost like he was just going to settle for her. And she deserved more than that.
I agree. I
So
totally agree.
yeah, so I really, really liked that um their that whole situation. To me, that made the whole book. That was the ending that I can live with. Like, and that just makes it okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and my mom said parents love their kids always. And yeah, so um but yeah, we want to, I don't know. And I was glad that Joe, as much as he loved Pip and looked at him as a son, I was really glad that sorry, did it cut out?
It was like you went away.
I'm really glad that he got a chance to have a family because the one that he had with Mrs. Joe, the first Mrs. Joe, Pip's sister, was just so awful. So I was really glad that that kind of got redeemed in a good way for him
Yeah.
as well.
He
So
deserved that.
he did deserve that. He's such a good guy. So he is one of my other favorite characters as well. I feel he's probably like everybody's because he is just so lovable. But
Yeah.
I really appreciated the lawyer assistant guy just for the comedic relief. He is just hysterical. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Okay, so do you have any final thoughts?
I have 12 months before I read another Dickens book. That's my I'm not
Well, probably
I don't want to
11.
discourage
Yeah.
anybody. Take the challenge and do it because it's good for you and it does feel like such a huge accomplishment. But it's just not my preference. And so I'm glad that you challenge me every oh, there's Sean. That you challenge me to read a Dickens book every year.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. And even if, like you said, even if you don't like it, and you can know going into it, this is going to be a challenge. I don't know if I'm actually going to like this story, whatever, but I think so. Next time going into it, I would encourage everyone to maybe pick a character that you do like and focus on them, or focus on a storyline that is, um, that you do like, and kind of not skim over, but just not get super invested or tied down with all of the details. Because
So,
I do agree, like his friends that he has when he's like in college or whatever, I do not keep track of them. I don't really care for that storyline. So I read it, but I'm not super invested or paying
yeah,
attention. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah.
So
I did that with Joe. Like I feel like that's the story I was invested in. So I was reading everything else to get to that
yeah.
to get to that storyline. So
Yeah.
I love them.
Well, okay. So yay everybody
Yay
for
for
completing it, and we're
reading!
done. Yay for reading. So let us know if you enjoyed this format. Like I said, if you think that there's a book that we should try to do this with. We don't have to wait until December next year, but we totally can do it again then. Maybe we try to pick a little bit of a shorter Dickens book.
I
Although
kind of
they're
like doing
all,
the lives. They're
yes, I know it was fun. I know nobody's going to want to have anything to do with it in January though. So
We'll see y'all in February.
yeah.
We're all going to be
And then
sugar
maybe
detoxing in January.
yes. So okay. So oh, and if you haven't listened to this week's podcast, it's recapping all year
It's
reading.
really
So
fun. I
oh no.
did you listen to it this go around?
Well, you were cutting out kind of bad on my end.
Are
But
you there?
no. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I think we might have lost her.
I'm
Okay,
here.
we'll just
Can you
Oh, okay.
hear
Well,
me?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So what were you gonna say?
I was asking if you listened to the podcast. It was really good. It was really fun.
No, I did not listen this
Okay.
week.
Will you
Listen, people, I edit them
why
and then
why
I
are you always trying to put me in the grave?
uh,
Um,
but yes, you should definitely listen this week because it is a fun episode.
it's a fun one.
And we've got exciting stuff coming for January. I'm super excited about it. So, anyways.
Yay.
Okay. Yay. And everyone, I hope everyone has a good new year.
All right. And Jackie and Richard, because we know what y'all are going to watch later. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to Jackie. And thank you to everyone that has been with us live or gone back and watched it later, because I know that there's views from later too. So we appreciate everybody.
But give us thumbs up when you go watch
Yeah.
it.
And leave a comment. And subscribe
You
and
turn
all
on
the
the bell.
things, like all the things. And so, anyways.
We're such
Okay.
dorks.
I
Okay.
know. Okay. Bye.
Bye.